Conference organized by iier in association with Institute of Research Journal, ITR Group. So it is with great pleasure and honor that I stand before you today to introduce the esteemed Institute of Research and Journal and this prestigious international conference as we get here to exchange knowledge, ideas, and experience. The Institute's role in fostering academic excellence and promoting scholarly disclosure becomes more significant. Here, just to add few points about IRA accomplishments, Institute of Research and Journals have around 10 international journals in the field of engineering, science, humanities, healthcare, business management, and more. Apart from that, Institute of Research and Journal has conducted almost till now 700 plus international conferences across the globe in various cities physically, and virtual conferences it keeps on conducting across the globe again, depending on the pandemic situation and everything. So here, adding to one of the important point here, we have Institute of Research and Journal has some MOUs and with, partnered with many renowned publishing agent or agency also like elsewhere with Berkeley and AITs and many more. So this is a brief about the organization in whole. I welcome you all for this international conference, and then we are here to exchange the knowledge and understand stuff and network and grow and communicate each other and grow. So welcome one and all for this international conference. So without wasting much time, we'll quickly go ahead and start with the conference. So to add one or 2 points more, I'm Dr. Ravi Kumar. I basically from an interdisciplinary field with respect to management and mechanical engineering, and also little bit expertise. There's a little bit expertise with respect to data science also. So this is a small whole brief about me. So and I have more than 20 plus international journals and 8 publications, book publications and international books, and also a few patents also. So this is just brief about my credentials. Thank you one and all. We'll quickly go ahead and start with the presentation. Before that, I would request everyone to turn on the video so that we can quickly capture a group photo. Kindly turn on the video.
Okay, so good afternoon to all researchers and distinguished attendees. My name is Iván Mari, and I'm a final year student of industrial engineering at the University of Lima in Peru. So it is an honor to be here to share my research paper entitled Improvement in the Production Processes of Polymeric Insulators through Lean Manufacturing in a Peruvian Company. Introduction. As we know, the electric power industry is a key element for the social and economic development of countries. The physical medium that enables the transmission of electrical energy across countries are high voltage towers. Now, an important component of this low, medium, and high voltage towers are electrical insulators, and these can be made of ceramic, glass, and polymers. In this case, we will see or analyze a Peruvian company dedicated to the manufacturing and commercialization of polymer insulators, and the problems we have faced were inadequate management of processes, lack of order, and poor use of spaces. Objectives. The objectives of the study are first, to apply lean manufacturing tools to eliminate waste and reduce production times. Second, to determine the impact on lead time after the application of lean tools such as 5S and BSM. And third, to identify the production processes of polymer insulators. Methodology. We have mainly used 2 different lean techniques. First, the value stream mapping, which according to Canton Amador, it is a tool that allows schematizing the manufacturing processes of a product from the reception of raw materials to the final delivery to the customer. And second, the 5S, which is an approach to continuously improve quality and productivity at work through the application of 5 principles, which are classification, order, cleanliness, standardization, and discipline. The techniques, tools, and information we have used are the following: techniques, observation, data collection, document analysis, tools such as records, control sheets, checklists, photographs, a stopwatch were very important, and the information collected was related to the production process, production times, and the status, the initial and the final status of process flows and work areas. The result. So this company actually sells 10 different products. 8 of them are electric insulators, specifically polymer insulators. So to make this study relevant, we wanted to choose one of them for the study. And so we used this product process matrix, where we considered, the letters are the products that are sold by the company, and the injection, cutting, sanding, polishing, assembly, test, finishing, and packaging are the processes involved in the company. So 2 of them were the ones that went through all of them, but the most important one was the first, because as we can see in the Pareto diagram, the annual sales were much higher than the other ones. So we schematized the production process in a block diagram with the process of injection, cutting, sanding, polishing, clean, join, crimp, the resistance test, the finishing, the verifying test, and finally the packaging. And after collecting all of the information related to production times, also considering what I mentioned before, which was the block diagram, we schematize all of the information in a VSM, in a value stream mapping. So here we got a diagram with 8 processes, and we also calculated the takt time, which was 255 seconds per insulator, and we got a production lead time of almost 4 days and a processing time of 2,387 seconds. So this is the current VSM, or the initial VSM. So after analyzing all the data in the VSM, analyzing photos, some of the symptoms that the production line had were disorder, dirty appearance of the assembly area, lack of shelves, lack of visual controls, time wasted on searching for tools, and poor space utilization. So that's why we applied 5S. So to apply the first test, which is sort, we removed all the unnecessary objects. So here we can see in the first image some big wood pieces, some machinery that was defective and disused. For the second S, which is setting order, we established like each item was assigned to a place according to its use. For the third S, which is shine, a cleaning plan was developed as a permanent activity at the end of the shifts. Regarding the standardized S, standards and procedures were established. Visual controls were also implemented. And regarding the last, which is sustain, we held weekly meetings with the staff. Audits also helped to identify areas for improvement. And the evolution of the program compliance was like this. We can see the colors being blue, the first one, which was very low. We got an improvement from 33% to 53%. All of these percentage were calculated using this 5S audit sheet. So the final state was pretty good for only 4 weeks of applying this methodology. And also there are some changes in the layout after the program. So as we mentioned before, in the 5S, we removed some of the, well, here there's a big machine, which was an injection machine. Was They didn't use that machine to inject the sleeves of the insulators. So we removed that, the waste also, which was products that were not in the warehouse. Also, we assigned this area to a different one, and some of the objects were ordered. We also got a rack or shelf to order some tools used in the production processes. So the final VSM uh, was like this. We got, instead of 8 processes, we got 7 processes because we merged 2 of them, which are in the preparation. The time reduction of the cycle time was um, significant. So if we compare the production lead time, the final production lead time, and the final processing time, we get a reduction in the lead time of 13.27%, and in the processing time of 14.53%, which was very good for the short time. And the conclusions are, in this study, it was observed how spaces were optimized through lean practices. The introduction of weekly audits led to a significant increase in compliance with the 5S program, and it is concluded that this research work can be applied to manufacturing companies by first applying diagnostic techniques such as value stream mapping or Ishikawa diagram, and after that we can decide which lean manufacturing technique are the most appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation. Uh, so, just wanted to understand one important thing in your presentation. Was the implementation part which you have mentioned here. After the implementation, you got the efficiency improved, right? So, how exactly? What are the various other parameters you saw, so that improvements, if you can stress upon it, will be good, like where exactly, when you use
Mm-hmm.
those 5S concepts, where you found the lagging was there, and which process was involved with respect to the efficiency improvement which was
Mm-hmm.
required.
So which of them? Oh, okay. So here, in the initial state of the VSM, um, we found in the assembly area, which considered the assembly process, the resistance test and finishing and the packaging processes. All of them were in the assembly area, which are shown in this layout. So how we analyze the cycle time? The cycle time was pretty high because there was some disorder in the area. There are some photos of evidence, of course, but before building this VSM, we built an Ishikawa diagram, or also known as root and cause diagram. Here, and also, um, why how can we notice if the production times are high? First, we calculated the takt time, considering uh, the shifts, the number of operators or people that were working in the company, the time they were working in the company, specifically for manufacturing this product, which was a polymer insulator. The assembly area was the one of like the 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 most relevant one. So here, all of the 5S was applied to the area, right? So answering that question, the most important variable to analyze here was the takt time and the processing time. And how we achieved that, we merged what was here known as sanding and filling. Two of them were different operations. And if we can see here, the standardize, we merged those two processes into one, and the reduction of the cycle time was of, I think, 1 minute. After applying the 5S in the assembly area, the reduction time was almost 3 minutes, and after standardizing the injection process was 1 minute. So we compared the initial state of the value stream mapping and the final state of the value stream mapping, considering the production lead time and the processing time.
So first of all, greetings of the day to everyone. Myself, architect Sukhmanjit Singh, and presently I'm doing PhD under Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar, Punjab, India. So wishes from India as well for you guys. So this is what I'm presently doing as my PhD topic, that perception of women about safety around urban voids, and rethinking potential planning solutions for that. Why I'm choosing this topic over there, like growth of India, it is always considered to be that how India has progressed through the lens of rural India or urban India. But nowadays, we need to think of it as the growth of India in the past times was recognized by the development of villages and rural India, but in the present scenario, the scale is dependable upon the urbanization factor of my country. So just to provide the needful to the public, planners are bound to design certain several urban spaces around, which are actually turning out to be urban worlds. This concept of urban worlds, this is much actually clear. I'll move it to the next slide, sorry. So that, and so why I'm focusing on this thing. So first of all, I was talking about urban words, so I need to make it clear that that concept of urban words, it is a clear, if we're talking scientifically, so it is pretty much clear. As well as literally it is clear. So the urban perspective of the same, that is quite different. So this is why it is happening. So this is dealing differently in terms of our societal constraints and through the lens of women and their need for better spaces. So I think like addressing these issues and rethinking planning solutions is crucial to create a safer and more inclusive urban environment for everyone. So by understanding women's specific needs and perceptions regarding safety in urban worlds, appropriate interventions that can be designed to enhance their sense of security as well. So this is how my research is basing upon that only. So this was just a brief about urban worlds only. So the lenses which I am talking about, that women's safety, it is important. Women's perception, that is important, and urban words, they are the reason why I'm talking like that, this thing, and gender sensitive planning is that it's not like they have not done any work on top of it as well. There is a lot of work done upon this thing as well. We have been thinking about gender sensitive planning from the beginning, but why this problem is coming up? The problem why it is coming up is that we haven't been able to manage. Nobody is designing these urban wards intentionally. They are coming up just like that because of inefficient planning, you can say that. And then if it is a geographical void, we can't do anything about it, but we can take examples from like London, like around the river Thames. They have efficiently managed that edge into a really recreational space and tourist attraction as well. So things like that can be done. So that inclusivity part, that is very important from the woman's perception. One thing is like crime is actually happening in one area, and another is like okay, that thing or that area, that might be women are being skeptical about that actually crime is not happening, but she is thinking like anything can happen around that, it is not safe. So my whole aim of this study is to bridge that gap between women's experiences and urban planning practices, introducing more gender sensitive approaches that promote safety, accessibility, and inclusivity for all individuals in urban worlds. So sorry, I need to check. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, you're audible. You're audible.
Okay, thank you, sir. So my objectives, like first objective was to exploring and understanding women's perception of safety in urban worlds and public spaces. Second was to identifying various factors which influence women's perception regarding the sense of safety. And the third one was understanding the outcome of these. We need to examine the behavioral outcomes as per as the perceived senses. So for that hypothesis part, I was coming up with that well-planned and designed spaces are important for women to perceive a sense of safety in and around urban worlds. So the scenario of voids, if I'm considering these spaces which are considered to be public spaces, are no more left for the public, resulting in the creation of dark zones and also called voids. So when we speak about the public parks, the spaces under the flyovers and the unused buildings that have been that have a worsened effect on the mental health of the woman, creating psychological issues as well, that can be used by the miscreant like safe havens for those guys to carry out with their illegal activities and all that. So these spaces, like which are considered to be public spaces, are no more left for the public, resulting in the creation of those dark zones and also called voids, because nobody is taking care of them. So when we speak about the public parks, the spaces under the flyovers and these things, they can be taken care of, I think. And so the research questions which were actually popping up, that what is the connection between these urban words and the sense of safety felt by the women, and like majorly which type of urban areas become the target areas hampering women's safety. And the third one was, what is the woman's perspective of these urban words only, right? So when if I talk about my research methodology part, primary data collection through case studies and literature studies, which presently I am doing. So primarily mapping and photo mapping as well, and semi-structured interviews, and then a questionnaire, and the last one is like focus group interviews and all that. So for field research part, it was including qualitative interviews, case studies, participant observations, direct observations, anthropography as well. So this was the part I was covering there. And then so far, if I talk about that of my research so far, I have gone through that by Roger Treknik in 1986 in his book, he talked about finding lost spaces, so theories of urban design, in which he has told about that urban worlds are undesirable urban areas that are in need to redesign, making no positive contribution to the surroundings. So then by Campos Venuti in 1986 as well. So they also talked about urban voids and empty spaces are like as often relevant for reclaiming interventions. In fact, some small or medium weekend sites are made as a crucial area, due to which such areas are called intensive action areas. So by Abraham and Aurelia, they talked about that urban wards are the spaces which are found outside the common peripheries or borders. Urban wards are the spaces which are enforcing violence against women, uh, especially the public parks, which lack the concept of visibility and hence give the concept of rapidly growing crimes in the area. And Omar, he talked about urban wards are one of the most important vital resources and a useful component to significant benefits that represent great opportunities for development activity. So it is necessary to form government strategies and programs to deal with these spaces by invest and utilize them in development process. So, and by Unique Park and Hasranga Park, this study concentrate on the angle of perception of women's safety that leads in giving a shape to the approach, followed by some thought of to be what are the gaps and leftover buffer zones in the city which have no function or boundaries and are viewed to be unsafe and hub of illegal activities as well. So the definitions of lost and not used include obscured or neglected during a process or action, ruined or destroyed physically or morally. So then issues which I actually found through, according to my literature review, was isolated species. This was by Gil Valentin in 1978. Isolated species are generally in action during the night time as well, and during the day, these species are no longer isolated as they have some or any other activity taking place. So these species, they need to need more attention towards devising them through social control. And then Claire Magday in 1996 talked about, especially in the deserted parks and urban spaces, these are the chances of women developing the sense of fear of being sexually attacked by men. By this is not only the case, women have the tendency to develop such fear in an overcrowded space as there is hindrance to visibility as well. So visibility is also coming up an important factor. Then Kalpana Vishwanath and Shobhit Tandon, Malhotra 2007, according to their study, it was noticed that many a times the street lights are installed in the middle of the street only, or not on the sides, on the pathways, in the middle. So, and then only on one side, illuminating the road rather than the sidewalks on either side. So, furthermore, there are no lights at bus stops. So, instead, street lights are used to illuminate them, not the path actually. So this was one of the problem highlighted then by Carmelo Maria Porto in 2002. Talked about the lack of utilizing the resources that also lead to creating a more crime-prone area, which is in general not safe for the public around it. So such spaces also defy the identity they have, may it be social economic or socio historical. And then I have not included others as well because it was a very short duration of 10 minutes only. So I have talked about the main points only. Then Heki, Rahman, Masonly Jones, they talked in 2018. So they talked about that urban wards are supposed to be the major region and output of the output of economic, again saying urban and demographic fluctuations taking place. So non-uniform lighting in the key areas is another issue faced in and around these empty spaces, which are again linked with the visual permeability, creating private spaces which are eventually dingy and dark spaces. So then about void and voidness, from void to emptiness, and then there is a concept called void to voidness. So doesn't it make a shift if in the thinking that it is always about underutilizing spaces of initially ill-planned or ill-spaced places? These spaces are actually eventually lead to creating a sense of voidness. In other terms, emptiness, which does not go well with the human nature. So in this case of study, this is a major thing that is happening all over again. Instead, it if not sticking to the single logic and trying to accept the problem with an open mind, can we deal with the issue created? So difference and relation between urban space, urban public spaces and urban voids as well. So if we in the center I am talking about here, So that these are the urban spaces. So if without use is neglected, these are the urban voids or spaces that exist and stay unused as well. You reuse them or revitalize them, then you that means you add activities to that part as well, and then you come up with the urban public spaces where events taking place in open to public use and accessible to all the people. So from urban voids we can go move to these urban spaces can be taken in two ways as well. One, we can talk about that we can have no activities, we can neglect them, and then they can be safe havens for the miscreant. Otherwise you can add activities to that part as well, reuse them, revitalize them, and you can have very nice places even on the economic front as well, or being a connectivity part for two areas as well. Okay, so I'll talk about that though. Then how can they help, right? uh, about the livability as well. If we are making a good nice public space as well, so livability index, happiness index will increase. It will have an important effect if we have like yoga rooms or pathways and all those things can have fresh air along with that as well, then it will be attractive, so people will be talking like that as well. Then we can talk about some sustainable features along with that while using green energy and all that. It should be safe, like we should be having street furnitures, well lit street lights as well, right, illuminating the paths and all that, and low height shrubs and all that, so that we can be able to visualize like eyes on the street part. So the places we are talking about. So then the builds and supports the local economy. If we need to design it right, it should promote health, it should promote the and defines the sense of community as well, right, creates improved accessibility as well, right, that is also important. And then social interactions as well. So if we come up with that as well, so to redesign a place I need to think about the comfort and the image, then access and the linkages, social ability, and user and activities, then these I can add. Okay, so the link between used, underused, and misused spaces I have talked about here. So that how we'll be taking into that only. So I'll be not going through this text only because I have already talked about on the last slide as well, right? So I'll talk about only these parts here, that if voidness is talked about, that means leading towards unused. These all words are all related. So if there is a void, that will be misused. Okay, and why it is there, it can be underused as well, and then there is vagueness as well, so due to that part. Okay, so various possible solutions found of the research, and when then this is first thing that we can do the mapping of those areas. Then if we are using it as linkages, then we can map those areas. Then we can have heat maps in these areas as well. I have included that part in my research paper in a detailed way here in the presentation, because it is just summarized for 10 minutes only. I have one. Then eyes on the street, this is given by the Jane Jacobs, right. So if everybody is watching and we have like windows and doors and openings towards the street part as well, and we have pathways, well established pathways, pedestrian areas moving towards that, that means everybody is looking into the part on the street as well. And then miscreants will be afraid of that part, that everybody will be looking as well. Then this is a morphological study part which was done, then in which I have explained all the areas here, that how the different heights of the buildings and different activities and different zones, that residential areas, commercial areas, recreational areas, and all those parts I have included. Then I have talked about gender sensitive planning as well. We need to think upon that basis, and then making it a safe city, making pedestrian areas, making cycle pathways, recreation spaces around that as well. So I'll conclude this research by saying that the research work would present the results that addresses the research questions and would give the focus and concentrated condition of the present scenario of an urban zone, which would reflect all the method and studies as per the previous research done on the same as well. So this will also include various issues faced in the study of a city selected as a case study example in terms of women's safety and the underutilized urban spaces voids. Through intensive research of the site, the best suitable proposal would be provided in terms of planning and governance. So these are some references about that. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Good afternoon from Myanmar. I am Chuchuta. Now I am attending PhD degree at Manly Technological University, Myanmar. Today I'm excited to talk to you about my research paper. My paper name is Performance Metric with Plot Height on Hyperledger Fabric Blockchain. So during these presentations, I will explore about the blockchain, Hyperledger Fabric platform and its component, and then how they affect the performance of the system and discuss how they relate to my research paper. So I will discuss my presentations according to the following outlines. So let me introduce about my system. So have you ever wondered how we can secure transition in an increasingly digital world? The answer is the blockchain, because the blockchain is a decentralized and distributed digital ledger technology that records transition across multiple computers. And revolutionary industry large and small. So the blockchain can be categorized into 4 types: public, private, consortium, and hybrid. So let me explain about these 4 types detail. So public blockchain is the permissionless and is completely decentralized. But the private blockchain is a permission blockchain and it can control by a single organization. And then the consortium blockchain is a permission blockchain, but it is controlled by a group or organization which has the same goal. And the last type is the hybrid blockchain. So it is the public blockchain and it is controlled by a single organization. Among these types of blockchain, my research mainly focused on the private blockchain. As a reason, I use Hyperledger Fabric framework for this research. So Hyperledger Fabric is an open source platform and we can easily update rules, transitions, and reduce energy consumption. So my research paper mainly focus on the authorization in the Hyperledger blockchain. And in this system, I use the patient hacker record and hacker datasets. So one of the challenges is the size scalability in the ordering service phase for the blockchain-based organizations. The parameter of block timeout and block size are based on absolute measurement byte, and before measurement byte in the authorization need to determine the most suitable values that align with the user system requirements. So my proposed system aims to enhance the performance and efficiency of the Hyperledger Fabric blockchain implementation for the blockchain-based system. So in my research, I use the Hyperledger as a tool to analyze the performance of the batch timeout and block size for organization. So the aims of my research paper is to analyze the performance metric with chain length and the block timeout on Hyperledger Fabric blockchain. So we need to study the basic concepts and theory of Hyperledger Fabric, and we need to examine the detailed process of authorizations, and then we need to predefine a sufficient service rate for the numbers of concurrent users, and then we need to set up the system with different parameter values on block generation rate. Finally, we need to evaluate the experimental results using paper tools. So before doing implementation process, we study many research papers that are related to my research area. And among this paper, this slide show my main reference paper for my research. The first paper, in the first paper, this paper propose determining optimal plot size for transitions, and by considering configurable parameters and the transition arrival rate. And then the second paper is the blockchain-based certificating storage system, and this paper story on the performance of the storage system in the contents of Hyperledger Fabric blockchain, including block size, transition arrival rate, and the numbers of concurrent users. And the third paper is the performance benchmarking and optimizing Hyperledger Fabric blockchain platform. So in this paper, invoke the experimentations to assess the impact of various configuration parameters, including block size and the endorsement policy, channel, resource allocation, and state database. So in this slide, I would like to discuss about the Hyperledger blockchain. This platform and is ordinarily contributed by IBM and Digital Assets, and then later made an open source project and a Linux Foundation project, which started in December 2015. So it is Hyperledger Fabric is a permission blockchain framework with a modular architecture assembly. And it is also the first distributed ledger platform to support smart contracts authored on general purpose programming language such as Java, Go, and Node.js, rather than constrained domain-specific language. So there are many frameworks that work under the Hyperledger project. And then we use Hyperledger Fabric framework for my research. And as a tools, I use the Hyperledger Clipboard in order to measure the performance of the system. So in this session, I will discuss how transition flow within the Hyperledger Fabric. So when the user want to read or write the data, the user need to request a transition proposal to end users. So the end user firstly verifying the transition proposal based on the rule that are predefined in chain code to confirm the permission is read or write sets. So that we need to redefine the rules in chain code. So the rules may be first the transition proposal is structured correctly and is not duplicate and already existing transition. And the third is the verifying the client identity, and the transition ensure is permitted to execute the proposed operation. After validation process, the permissions are entered to the user, and the user collects the response and then submit the transitions to the orderer session. The orderer session package approve transition into block within a specified block timeout and block size. And then the orderer deliver the block to the committer. So the committer need to validate the transitions, and then the committer after validations, the committer cannot append the transition block to the blockchain. Then The valid transaction contents are committed to the state database by the committer peers. So in my research, I mainly focus on the Aurora sessions. So before the transactions are ordered into the block, we need to redefine some parameter like block timeout and block size. So let me explain more detail about my system. As I already mentioned that my system is primarily focused on the Aurora sessions. So because the block height values are influenced by the parameter setting in the Aurora session. Then in my system, I utilize the hacker record datasets in which each patient ID is defined as a key and attributes such as case number, treatment date, such as designated as values for patient healthcare record. So in order to establish communication and collaborations, we need to create channel names, healthcare channel 1. In this channel, we have 2 organizations, and in each organization we have a single peers. So this is my proposed system implementation. Firstly, we need to select the batch timeout and block size, and we want to change. So and then we need to configure. We need to configure the configuration file, and then we need to assign the batch timeout and the block size into the Aurora sessions. And then after this step, we can start up the Docker container to create PR and Aurora nodes. And then we create channel and join the channel to each PR and then install chain code. And then we need to combine, build, and initialize the chain code on the peer. After that, we need to assign configuration path to the fabric, and we need to assign environmental variables to peer of the organizations. And finally, we can start operation of the ledger. And then we can start the implementation step. So let me explain about my experimentation result. In this session, the performance indicator of Fabric 2x2 system is simulated by varying several important parameters such as transaction arrival rate and block generation rate. So this is my experimentation result 1. And so firstly, I change the block size into 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, and 1024 kilobyte. And then the block size be 2 seconds, and the block timeout is 2 seconds, and the transaction arrival rate is 50, 150, and 350 TBS as shown in table. And now we can see the result as follows. If the block size is larger, the numbers of blocks in the blockchain will be slightly declined because the different numbers of transactions can be stored in one block. So the numbers of blocks will also be stable at the block size 512 to 1024. So the block height can be reduced if the block size larger than 512 kilobytes. Therefore, the preferred maximum byte of the block size, 512 kilobyte, is the smallest number of the block height in Hyperledger blockchain. And this is my next experimentations. In this experimentations, I use the block timeout as many parameters. So I change the parameter as 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 50 seconds, 20 seconds, and 25 seconds. With the block size is 500 kilobyte, and the transition arrival rate is 50 TBS, 150 TBS, and 350 TBS. Now we can see the result as follows. So the number of blocks remain unchanged between the block timeout 50 seconds to 25 seconds. Therefore, the maximum block time of 50 seconds is the small number of block height in the proposed system. So if the time interval of block timeout is too short, it will cause system congestion. If the block timeout is too long, it will waste the system resources. So let me conclude my presentations. So High-Ledger Fabric blockchain supports security, transparency, and access control service. So my original or native service rate of absolute maximum byte and the maximum transaction count cannot be sufficient for the application, which involve many transaction arrival rate. So my proposed system is implemented to analyze the absolute maximum byte and the maximum transaction count allowed in one block. So my proposed system can reduce the performance bottleneck of High-Ledger Fabric. As a future work, is essential to analyze the absolute maximum byte and the maximum transaction count allowed in one block. So thank you very much for being paying attention and for being here today. Thank you. Thank you for all.
Good afternoon for everyone. My name is Rafah. My research paper is training certificates as NFT using Ethereum blockchain and IPFS, prepared by Rafah Amr Jafar.
Full screen, please. Full screen below, you can click on the full screen.
My research paper is training certificates as NFT using Ethereum blockchain and IPFS, prepared by Rafah Amr Jafar and Saad Najm Saad, Department of Computer Science, College of Science, Mustansiri University, Baghdad, Iraq. The outline of my paper is introduction, problem statement, the aim of paper, block diagram of the proposed system, results of the proposed system, conclusions. Introduction. In an area when the job market is getting more and more competitive, it has become common for college students and recent graduates to take different kinds of training courses and get different kinds of certificates. These are good to have when looking for work. This important role of training certificates attracts and motivates fraudsters to try to obtain jobs based on forged training certificate. The centralized storage of certificates is often used, which leaves the system open to a wide variety of threats because of their exposure to centralized data. The blockchain is a distributed digital ledger that maintains data that has been cryptographically secure and immutability recorded using blockchain technology. Each transaction on a blockchain is made more secure by the use of cryptographic procedures that are employed in the generation of blocks and the connecting of blocks. Additionally, the data that are recorded on a blockchain are immutable records, meaning that once they are generated, their status cannot be altered. One of the solutions that have gained favor is blockchain technology, which when combined with the NFT offers excellent security features. In this paper, a decentralized architecture of training certificates as NFT is proposed and implemented. In the proposed system, the owners of certificates earned via training programs may verify the legitimacy of their credentials with the institutions with the ease by just sharing their NFT certificates with the institutions. Problem statement. The certificates of training programs provide a significant challenge that calls for extensive study and development. The sources used to verify that an individual has successfully completed the training program and attended it are required to be trustworthy. In addition to this, it is recognized as permit to work and serves as evidence that the individual has acquired and is able to make use of his skills and capabilities. The aim of paper develop a proposed system for procedure that will include the payment of charge before certificates are distributed. The further steps that must be taken to get a training certificate include paying any applicable fees and confirming the certificate's continued validity. A decentralized architecture for training certificate in the form of NFT utilizing the Ethereum blockchain and the IPFS has been suggested and implemented. This is a block diagram display the NFT certificate for training programs. The input for this proposed system is a training certificate file. After that, upload the certificate file to IPFS. Then generate certificate IPFS hash. After that, fill the certificate's information such as issuer address, participant address, certificate price, certificate IPFS hash. After that, store the certificate on the Ethereum blockchain. After that, generate as output training certificate as NFT. After generated training certificate as NFT, transfer the NFT certificate purchase price between the issuer and participant. After that, can display the owner of the certificate. Structure of the proposed smart contract that used in the proposed system. The contracts that use it in this smart contract, ERC is 721.sol. This contract write in Solidity programming language. This is this contract a standard contract for expressing ownership of tokens that are not fungible, meaning that each token is distinct. Variables that is used, certificate. This type is struct to represent the certificate record, certificate ID, type unsigned integer 256. This variables used to store the certificate ID. Issuer address. This type of address used to store the Ethereum address of the issuer. Participant address, also type of address used to store the Ethereum address of the participant. Price, type unsigned integer 256-bit used to store the certificate price. Certificate hash. This type is string used to store the certificate IPFS hash. Certificate IDs, type byte 32, an array containing certificate IDs for all issued certificates. ID to certificate. This variable type of mapping stores an indexed list of registered certificates. The function that is used in the proposed smart contract, certificate issue. This function used to store the certificate on Ethereum blockchain. Certificate transfer. This function transfer the certificate as well as the purchase price between the issuer and participant. The owner. This function display the owner of the certificate. Experiments and results. The proposed system is implemented on Lenovo with the following specifications: CPU Intel Core i5, physical memory 16 GB, operating system Windows 10 Pro. The smart contract of the proposed system is developed and deployed by Remix IDE. The smart contract is written in the Solidity programming language without the need to install the Solidity environment, which is an object-oriented, high-level programming language for building smart contracts. The Remix is an integrated development environment that can be accessed online. Ganache network. Ganache is used as an Ethereum test network to demonstrate the effectiveness of the proposed system. Ganache is perfect for testing and development since it operates entirely locally and is substantially quicker. This is Ganache network with 10 accounts, and each account have 100 fake ether. Deploying of proposed smart contract. The proposed smart contract is developed on Aramix IDE, then compiled and deployed on the Ganache network when the Ganache network has been initialized. This is transaction display. The smart contract is deploying and developed. Training certificate on Ethereum blockchain. Once the proposed smart contract has been created, the issuer calls the certificate issue function to store the certificate as an NFT on the Ethereum blockchain. The transaction that is produced when certificate is saved as an NFT. This transaction display that the training certificate is stored on Ethereum blockchain. Transfer training certificate as NFT from the issuer to the participant. After the NFT certificate has been issued, the participant purchases an NFT certificate. The participant transfers the purchase amount to the organization that issued training certificates, and the organization transfers the certificate to the participant. This is transaction show that the training certificate is transferred from the issuer to the participant. This is a function is used to display the owner of an NFT certificate by using the function is NFT certificate.owner_of. Conclusion. This paper used the NFT blockchain technology in the education field to issue training certificates. A decentralized architecture of training certificate as NFT using the Ethereum blockchain and IPFS is proposed and implemented. The proposed system provides certificates with a decentralized management, security, and immutability. A participant private key controls their own blockchain address, which is where their training certificate as NFTs are stored. NFT certificate cannot be lost due to server downtime, a lack of support, or account bans since they are not stored on centralized server. The proposed system proved to be of great value by addressing the current training program's difficulties in obtaining the certificate and paying the fees. Thank you.
So happy to be here. Thank you for having us. I am presenting the challenges SMEs face in implementing artificial intelligence. Introduction to this topic is that artificial intelligence creates groundbreaking opportunities for businesses of all sizes. Large corporations lead the charts in AI adoption. So basically, bigger corporations and companies are leading the way in artificial intelligence, but then again, at the same time, small and medium-sized enterprises also stand to benefit significantly from integrating AI into their operations. However, even though they do stand to benefit, they do also face unique challenges that can hinder the successful implementation of AI. The objective of this research is was to identify the challenges that the SMEs face when attempting to integrate AI into their operations. The methods include a qualitative research design utilizing semi-structured telephone interviews as the primary data collection method. The purpose of the study was to explore the experiences, the options, and the challenges faced by SMEs in utilizing AI in their operations. There were two target group definitions. First one was to target the SMEs who actively either use AI or have a strong strategic intention in utilizing AI. And then SMEs, so small and medium-sized enterprises who are in the service sector. Now, the sample in this study consisted of 191 participants, which were divided into two main categories. So the first category was top decision makers, including CEOs, CTOs, COOs, and other top management from SMEs in implementing AI technologies. And the second group was specialized experts in IT or ICT management, meaning experts in information technology and information and communication technology. So these were the two participant groups that were interviewed in this study. The interviews themselves were conducted by trained researchers who followed a standardized protocol to ensure the consistency across the interviews. Each one of the interviewees were interviewed for approximately 15 minutes, with some variation depending on the responses and the engagement of the participant. The telephone interviews were recorded and transcribed verbatim. The study was conducted in compliance with relevant ethical guidelines. Then going further to the data analysis, the data analysis was conducted using a thematic approach. Transcripts were initially coded line by line to identify recurring patterns and themes. Then codes were grouped into larger categories and key themes were identified, and themes were cross-verified with the original transcripts to ensure accuracy and authenticity. Qualitative data analysis software was used to manage and organize the data, aiding the identification and interpretation of themes. Now, then going further to the results of the study, this paper presents preliminary results of a research program. So the focus in this paper is in main challenges and barriers of utilization of artificial intelligence by service sector SMEs, so companies, so small and medium-sized companies working or operating in service sector. I will be next showing a figure which kind of presents the results of this study. The collected data, however, is rich and the process of analyzing is still ongoing. So with this paper, we want to focus mainly on the top topics that were identified as the main challenges in adopting artificial intelligence. The descriptives were that 30% of the sample companies have used AI-based solutions within 4 years or more. 59% of the companies have used AI for between 1 and 3 years, and 10% have used it less than a year. So this meaning that majority of the companies who participated in the study do have some level of experience with the utilization of AI. In a third of the companies that were studied, AI is widely used and it is a very important part of the company's operations. So this study focuses on then having this companies who have the third of the companies have an important part with the utilization of artificial intelligence. A fifth of the companies are perceived to have AI in established use in some company or business functions, so not all of them and not in wide use, but then in some operations. 2 out of 5 respondents say that the company is experimenting with AI, so there was also an inclusion of companies who are not that far developed with the utilization of AI, but are now experimenting with it. And about 10% say that their company is investigating the possibilities of AI. And almost half of the respondents feel that there are factors in their company who prevent or slow down wider utilization of AI. So this really kind of concises the focus of this study. So we wanted to be able to focus on the beginning parts of utilization of AI as well as to increasing it in SMEs, so that there is this focus in this study that highlights and makes visible the challenges that SMEs in service sector face when they are utilizing or starting to implement artificial intelligence in their operation. Now here I present to you the figure 1, which tells that what are the main obstacles or slowdowns that the participants have observed when it comes to utilizing artificial intelligence. Now, as you can see here, lack of skilled workers or human resources or own competence covers for a third of the participant answers. Also, customer attitudes or lack of courage or market immaturity or ability to adopt artificial intelligence is another, which is the kind of the second largest group of answers that were collected, making it 20% of the answers. The resources, meaning personnel and development resources, and then also financial resources and the availability of growth financing or investments were seen as the main barriers in the study that was conducted. There were also other themes that were kind of raised in answers of the participants. But again, this study looks to make visible or bring visibility into the maturity of the challenges that these companies face when they are implementing in the service sector companies. In conclusion, this study provides insight into the primary barriers when they are incorporating AI in their operations, and the study suggests that the majority of SMEs view of expertise as the main issue. The second biggest obstacle from the external and market-related challenges, and it is followed by concerns involving both the company's internal and external resources. Now, to conclude, the complexity effort among researchers, among tech and SMEs themselves, tailored to clear guidelines, collaboration, and ongoing research are key to enabling SMEs to leverage AI's potential, promoting innovation, competitiveness, and growth in this vital sector of the economy. So with this study, we really wanted to be able to highlight the challenges that the companies when they are utilized, and then
my topic is sustainable development goals and employment challenges for person with disabilities. So what it takes about to this topic, the actual number of PWD is higher, far higher than claimed by various surveys. Employment rate of PWD is significantly low as compared to non-PWD population. Now, SDG cannot be fully achieved till the time inclusive approach towards employability of PWD is taken into consideration. Different surveys say that PWD consists of 1/5 to 1/6 of world population, and to have a mainstream employment for them is an objective from quite long, but we have not achieved the target. Now, there are different words which are used for PWD, Viklang, handicap, crippled, specially able, but they are not recommended words. Only recommended words should be used are differently able or persons with disability preferably. And while comparing them with other persons, we should not use that normal people. We have to use the word non-PWD. Now, this study is in Indian context. We need to understand Indian context. What is the population of PWD in India? Disability canvassed in India from way back from 1872. It was not canvassed for 3 years, and now last census we have a 2011 census in which 8 disabilities were included. So these are the 8 disabilities. Now we filter out the data. We found it only as per the census, which is only 2.21% in 2011 are present of PWD, which is far lower than as compared by different surveys. So maybe the actual rate of PWD is much higher, which is claimed by census. Now, the male and female, the disability is not the person in man, it is in the same proportion as the all population. Similarly, male, female, rural, urban, there is not too much difference. There is in proportion with the total population. Now we try to figure out which disability which we should pick for our research. Based on the data, we want to cover maximum disability. So we have taken 4 disabilities: seeing, hearing, speech, and movement. Which 4 disabilities comprise for at least 65% of total disability. So for this research, we have left mental retardation, mental illness, multiple disabilities. So this is the chart from which you can see which disability we have taken. Also, the age group of the index is from 15 to 59 is 58% of disabilities are working in the are in the working age group, so their employment needs to be found. Also, when we compare the employment and unemployment rate, the PWD have a huge unemployment rate of 64%, which is very high. The ratio of here there is a gender bias in which we can say that females are more unemployed 79% as compared to males of 53%. Now, before starting this jumping to India, we need to see where India stands as far as PWD is concerned. The employment rate in some of the countries is as high as 62%. So India stands at 37%, which is far low. Now, these PWDs, where they are once they are involved, what they are doing, either they are cultivators, agricultural laborers, or in-house industry. Also, those who are not dependent, there are a lot of PWDs who are dependent and doing household duties. So these are PWDs for which we are doing the study. These are the census results from which we figure out 4 disabilities we are taking, how much is the proportion, and what is our whom we are targeting. Now, why they don't find a proper job? Because their employee perspective is the biggest reason. Because the employer in case they have other experience but express a concern that they are not able to do a job or accommodation of cost may be higher. Also, some PWD disabilities will not impact the job, but they are there is research which says they receive 26% fewer interest even if they will not impact the productivity. Sometimes because of CSR issues, employers do hire sometimes type of disability is the focus. Sometimes they say there are not enough applicants, but there is the job. When they announce it, there is no emphasis given that they will include the person, they will make enough effort that PWD are ready to hire. And there is a specific bias towards hiring particular kind of disability. Also, the skills are not matched when recruiting a PWD employee. So this is skill matching is important, and vocational training institutes are missing. Also, PWD receives lower pay package, lower participation in different making, lower training. So they are not. Some companies say they don't discriminate; they do work based on the employee strength. The research says that PWD have a lower absenteeism and significantly lower turnover ratio as compared to non-PWD. But however, the income is significantly lower as compared to non-PWD. Also, whenever there is a labor loss, there is a job loss or some retrenchment, they were the first one to pay the wages and they were the first one who to hire, and this is what the data says. Now, research objectives, but these are the problems which we have. So, what happening during sustainable development goals and post-COVID? Now, we have taken the research from different papers and we found out these research, and based on this research, we analyze the data. But yes, if there was a job loss for normal people, the job loss for PWD employees are much higher than the non-PWD employees. They were asked to either fall on from their job or they have fewer working hours. They were forced. The employers also have a challenge to force you because they were asked to shut down the business. But yes, in that case, the effects were not taken into consideration and they were asked to leave the job. More than 50 samples said the pandemic made it tougher to generate complete job and the workload and number of hours. When PW were not employed within the majority and either lost their job or went to leave, or they were forced to change their job. Only 15% of respondents received salary benefit at the time they were not working. Despite that, more than 55% applied for that benefit. While 45% of PW employed to the pandemic remained in their position, significant number of also changed there or they were forced to change them. The actual scale of impact of COVID on PW employees yet to define because it's an ongoing process and data are not correct. The employers are not revealing they are just sharing the data to how much people they have fired or they have asked to leave, but not whether they have hired the PWD. But the impact of PWD was unrelated to respondent tax raise degree of education. It was impacting all PWD employees. Even though more than half of jobless PWD applied for employees. Now to conclude this on the sustainable development goals, till the time equitable job opportunities are given to PWD employees, we're not able to achieve the sustainable development goals. One of the objectives which is to have a equality for job irrespective of caste, race, ethnicity, and disability also. These were the conclusion my comments. With this, I like to conclude this that COVID impacts SDG towards PW. The COVID primarily affects how the sustainable development goals are implemented according to SDG 2021. The report identified a number of areas that require immediate and coordinated action. Despite the fact it was noted that lack of sufficient official data made it difficult to generate thorough and accurate picture of progress SDG in real time. So these are the data because of the data are not actually available whether the PWD area or non-PWD area. We can just conclude based on some survey that PWDs were most severely impacted as compared to non-PWD. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your presentation then.